What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. And today we're going to be talking about Record Buster. Now, I messed this up here, so I'm going to correct this real quick. Let me throw Osvi back on the team here. There we go. Now, the team that I'm going to be using is very specialized, but if you want proof, we built this team last night on stream. The team's very good, but I'm lacking a little bit in the way of like CP levels and stuff like that. So, literally, these two people running the exact same team have mopped the floor with me. And a lot of that simply comes down to team organization and the fact that their CP levels must be way higher than mine. So my team organization is very defensively based. So you really have to plan this out accordingly. But I'm going to go ahead and continue with this because I know this team is good. But Otaro is a little bit different, and the first two things you need to know about Otaro when you go in here, you need to use a magic team. You've 100% got to use a magic team. Physical is a waste of time because his physical resistance is 50%. Now, magic is down 50%, and you can even debuff that like I did, down another 10% to get that down to 70%. And we're going to even debuff it further when we get into the match here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of the gate with my buff and debuff stacks, and that is just going to basically help build our baseline. The other thing he does, and I think I mentioned this before, he stuns. So you're going to have to put stun anklets or an assist, like the 3-star Misha or somebody, on your team that will nullify that stun. Now, turn 1, we just did here, he's going to do a single AoE, 2 single targets, and he's going to drop our endurance. You can actually see here, everybody's endurance is down. So that's the next thing you got to really pay attention to. Your debuffs are going to kill you. Absolutely kill you if you're not careful. And I actually might be in a world of hurt by the end of this. My team is built on the premise of a lot of RNG, shall we say. So we're going to hope for some luck on like turn 12, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So turn 2, he's going to do 3 single targets, and he's going to inflict us with slow. So let's just go ahead and continue our buff stack. I'm not really worried about too much of this. And I'm not going to go too deep into how my team works. If you want to research it, you absolutely can. You can pause the video, basically look at all the units that I'm using, look at the build I'm using and stuff like that. But largely, it seems pretty self-explanatory. Now, turn 3, we finally have the Winter Haruhime in here, so we're going to go ahead and buff her. I'm going to go ahead and do, in fact, I'm not going to do Sheik. I'm going to keep doing Akane here. And on this turn, I'm actually going to do an SA with Lena. And the reason I'm going to do that is twofold. My Lena, since she's maxed limit broken, getting this SA earlier is going to give us light resist down 50%. Now, Otaro never removes his debuffs. So as long as we can keep the debuffs in play, that's going to stay in play the entire game. That's going to be really handy for damage. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just do the rest of the general buff stack. Okay. Remove that. You can kind of see where those other people are getting much higher numbers, just because my team is kind of built a little more defensively. Though once again, like the team is basically built to get us to turn 12, and then that turns entirely up to RNG. I hate to say it, but it's quite true. Turn 12 is dicey. So I'm gonna do an SA here and get an early debuff out. Now on this turn, he's going to do a single AoE, and he's going to inflict us with stun if we don't have stun anklets. So, being that I've got all my stun anklets on, no big deal. Not worried about it. Alright. Boom. Come on. You can hit better than that. Alright. So, unfortunately, we didn't get... I believe we got critter penetration on that. I wasn't paying close enough attention. But it is what it is. On this turn, we're just going to go ahead and do as many of our big hits as possible. Unfortunately, I did not buff her, but her buffs are gone this turn, so we're going to do that. It's going to give us 20% HP regen, and that HP regen is going to pay dividends. Now, on this turn, since I did SA last time, and she removes her magic buff anyway on skill 3, we're going to do skill 3 here. If you have Lena will just mop the floor with this event. She is a monster. But he's basically going to do, sorry about that, he's going to do another single AoE, and then at the end of the turn, he's going to do an SA that removes all of our buffs. So we're going to have to be pretty diligent in how we're handling this situation. Bam, look at that. Look at that. Now he's going to do the SA, and he's going to basically wipe us out. Now, normally, right here, you'd want to use somebody that, like, removes magic buffs, removes strength buffs, things like that. Otaro doesn't buff himself. Otaro just hits like a truck no matter what you do. So you really have to be defensively minded in your team builds. That's another reason why that having the Hasty and, like, missing one bond is killing me right now, because I need that bond in order to get past turn 12. Because you can see, we took a little bit of a damage. It's not end of the world stuff, but, you know, still very much within the realm of survivability for turn 4. Turn 8, it's a little dicey. Turn 12, well, we'll see when we get there. So now that he's done that, we're going to have to rebuild our buff stack. On this turn, he's going to hit us with an AoE and endurance down again. So we just need to basically get back to where we were. So let's go ahead and rebuild that buff stack. Remember, Lena removed her magic buff anyway, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. If we can get her to SA on turn 4 every time, we're going to be in a pretty good... Well, okay. SA on turn 4, 6, and 8. That's our goal. And you'll see why I say that here in a moment. All right? So we've got all of our buffs out. I'm not worried about debuffs anymore. We're just going to go ahead and continue our general attack stack. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and do skill 3 for Lena again this time. Yes, she's going to remove her magic buff. We're going to rebuff it on turn 7. We're going to take advantage of all that damage that she's laid out on the table. All right? Now, we don't ever have to redo the debuffs so long as Haruhime is keeping those replicated, so all the debuffs are staying in play. Turn 6, I didn't cover. He does 3 single targets and once again inflicts slow. Let's see. The Haruhime is slowed, which isn't going to be a big deal because she's only doing heals and buff replication anyway, so she's good there. Let's go ahead and continue our buff stack. That means I will have to rebuff Lena. And turn 7, he is going to do a single AoE with ailment again. Pretty predictable stuff. It's almost the same every single time. Now, that does mean turns 3, 7, and 10, or I'm sorry, 3, 7, and 11, you have to be careful of that ailment. Plus, if you make it all the way to the end, turn 14 and 15, he does ailment as well. So there is a situation there where you could technically use anti-ailment, but you know, if you have triple anti-ailment, that's fine. Just understand that by turn 14, 15, you're getting hit with ailment again, so ain't gonna feel too good if you make it that far. So you really need somebody that nullifies all that. Or, well, you can't even do that. You can't even sack someone. So yeah, you really need full anti-ailment on this. All right, so turn 8. Turn 8, he's going to do a single AoE, and then he's going to do an SA after our turn. So once again, we need to make sure that our defenses are at top notch, and that we're basically hitting him as hard as we possibly can. We can't remove his strength buff. We can't do anything about it. We just have to survive. Okay? And Haruhime is almost out of MP, but that's not really a huge concern here, as you'll see here in a moment. Boom. Big hit there. Didn't feel good. Didn't feel good at all. But we're okay. We're still good. All right. So, on this turn, and yes, you can. Some of you are already seeing some holes in the team build, and that's kind of by design. I like to play with options and see, you know, what can produce damage and what can't. And in this kind of strange scenario that I'm working with here, I've gone a little more defensive on my build on purpose. And I'm leaving someone laying out there to take some damage that could kind of easily be nullified. But it's kind of designed to be a little more defensive on the front side so we can get through this. And turn 12 then becomes kind of a crapshoot. But I know how to fix that. I will fix that for my later videos. Don't worry about that. For now, just understand that my goal is not to risk RNG going up to now. My goal is to get as much out there as I can in the beginning so that, you know, we're pretty good to go. Turn 9. Turn 9, he's going to do a single AoE with 30% endurance down. So let's go ahead and do our buff stacking because our buffs are completely gone. That does mean we're doing Sheikah there. And that and that. Okay. Now, the goal here is a triple SA on turn 10. If we could pull that off, we're going to be in really good shape. And we're right there. Perfectly right on the line. So let's go ahead and do an SA with Haruhime. With both Haruhimes and Lena. Okay. And then we're going to do this buff. And you'll see why I'm doing this here in just a moment. But let's first talk about what he's going to do after we SA. So we're going to SA, we're going to hit him with everything we got here. It's going to be a big hit, and he is going to be reeling after this. This turn, we got 3 single targets and slow, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. Plus, Haruhime's can do a full heal on the team, so yeah. What am I worried about now, right? And getting this full heal out here is going to be really important to the longevity of the team. Mostly because, well, simply put, if we went into turn 12 with anything but perfect health, life's going to suck a little bit. Now, I will go ahead and admit, with the team build that I've got here, turn 12 is a crapshoot. It's very likely we could lose a character or two. That's just the nature of, A, Magic teams, because Magic teams are a little on the squishy side. B, it is very simply the nature of the team that I've built. Now, if you're paying attention here, Lena now has 100% Magic and 100%... Go, girl! 100% Magic and 100% light damage. So 3.3 mil is a fantastic hit. Just an absolutely spectacular hit for her. All right. Boom. Excellent. Excellent. I say excellent. That last attack is an AoE. It doesn't do as much damage, but it's fun to watch, isn't it? Very get Tokyo 3 vibes there. All right. So one more time, I'm going to do Sheikah, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I need to make sure... Actually, we'll do... Yeah, I'm going to do Sheikah one more time, so we go into the last round with enough MP, because if we don't go into that last round with enough... You know what? Screw it. I'm going to do Yosuga, because we need the healing. We need the healing. So let's go ahead and do our big hits, with the exception of Lena. How do I word this? With Lena here... I'm going to play a little defensively. And the reason being is because if I do her third skill, she is going to go ahead and basically remove that magic buff. So she's got 80%, I'm sorry, I said 100% light. She's got 80% light and 100% magic. So I'm going to try to preserve that for the last 2 rounds and try to eke out 2 more SAs. I don't know if I can pull it off, but I'm going to try. So here we go. Yep, everybody's hitting with their hardest stuff, with the exception of Lena, who is still going to be doing decent damage here. Like, don't... Yeah, so 170k, but she's... We've got other units hitting a lot harder than that. The problem is if I hit with a big attack, then I'd have to rebuff on this turn. And... There's the... How do I word this? The jury, in my opinion, is out as to whether it's worth spending that 100%... magic buff, or save that, the extra 20% for the last round. And I think saving it for the last round actually might pay out a little bit better. So in this turn, let's go ahead and one more time. Hit, and here we're going to be hoping for a little bit of RNG on our side. Though, I'm going to guess that the Swimsuit Haruhime is probably going to be deceased. Swimsuit Haruhime usually bites it right here. And if you know anything about team building, you kind of can understand why. Now, I didn't talk about turn 11. Turn 11, he does a single AoE with ailment again, very predictable. And then does a... See, there she goes. And then does a single AoE with SA on turn 12. Now, notice we're not feeling well. I'm going to go ahead and... This is a situation I don't want to deal with. See, I didn't have enough with Sheikah, so I've got to amend my team builds a little bit more, and that's going to hurt. That very much means there's a high likelihood that... Yeah, so I'm not going to get my extra SA. That means I'm going to do my SA on this turn to try to get that damage out there. So that said, my team build isn't perfect by a long shot. But we're going to try to get the early damage out before we start losing elements, because I feel like Haruhime is next up. Haruhime is probably gone. We might survive until the last turn, and I'll explain why that's important here in a minute. But here we go. 2.3 mil. Very respectable. Very, very respectable. All right. Come on, Lena. I need you to hang on. So if you saw what he did there, he did a single AoE with a single target. Now, he's going to hit with 2 AoEs this time and ailment, so I don't think we're going to make it past this turn. I think this turn is a done deal. I'm going to try to get her big attack out, and this is going to affect the overall score. Ah, come on. Yeah. So I still have to work on my team a little bit. My team is far from perfect, but still 431 mil with the team that is still in the works. 475 is my top dog damage, and I know that there's things I need to rectify on this team. We will be acquiring a dupe for that the missing unit on Hestia there. So we're going to have to acquire that to really make this team shine, and I've got to do a little bit of rearrangement on the team. But other than that, the team's pretty straightforward. Now, turn 14, like I said, he's going to do 2 AoEs, and then turn 15, he's going to do a single AoE. Both those turns, he's going to do ailment. So if you don't have anti-ailment at that point, you know, like let's say you use Adrione or somebody that's got 3 times ailment resistance, you're kind of cheating yourself. So you really need 100%, either the anklets or an assist or somebody that's going to resist that. You could get up to turn 13 with Adrione or somebody, but it's kind of a crapshoot, you know? I don't like that option. I'd rather have an assist that does 100% resistance. But I'm going to go amend this team a little more, and I do see some holes in this team. If you actually looked at the previous team, you can kind of see where I'm going to go with my team builds. But I also don't like giving everything away on video. I like to sandbag a little bit because there's a little bit of competition here. So I got to get 700k. We're gonna have to, or 700 mil. We're gonna have to go after 700 mil. We're gonna shoot for the moon on this one. So for now, that is gonna be my video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Good luck on Otaro. Hopefully that breakdown helped you guys out. If you need that breakdown in physical form, join the Discord down below. The crude suspension bridge to Venezuela. There's Danmachi guides there. In the Danmachi guides, there's a breakdown of every turn Otaro does. So you can actually come join the Discord. It's a great community for Danmachi. We do also do a couple other games as well. And, you know, hopefully it'll help you out. That's the video, guys. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be back at you guys with more Danmachi very soon.